Okay. Chairman Hoffman, Ranking Member McCloskey, and Graves, thank you for inviting me to testify on environmental justice and federal grant-making issues. My name is Donna Jackson, and I am a member of the National Advisory Council for Project 21, America's oldest Black conservative organization. The views that I express on this subject are my own and not necessarily those of Project 21. There are far too many people who try to make environmental justice into a one-sided issue. They focus only on claims that disadvantaged and minority communities are disproportionate victims of environmental threats, such as water pollution, air pollution, climate change, and others. But I think the greater threat comes from the disproportionate impacts of environmental policies and the damage they do to the economic aspirations of those who can least afford them. Most of us participating in this hearing today are in a comfortable economic position. Environmental laws and regulations that may raise our electric or water bills 10 or 20% or add an additional 50 cents to the price of a gallon of gasoline isn't going to change our lives very much, if at all. We can afford to be complacent about the cost of environmental policies. But for those struggling to make ends meet, the economic impacts can be devastating. According to a recent survey by the U.S. Energy Information Administration, 1 in 3 households face difficulties paying for their energy needs. 1 in 5 report having to forego necessities such as food and medicine to pay their energy bill. And the numbers are nearly double for Black households and just as staggering for Latino households. And yet, proposed environmental measures like the Green New Deal would further raise energy costs, worsening energy poverty, and leading to an even tougher sacrifice. In addition, most of us participating in this hearing have comfortable white-collar jobs. We can afford to be indifferent to the impacts of environmental policies that may block a new factory or a new natural gas pipeline or a new oil well or a new mine. And we may not even think about the jobs these projects would have created. But for those at the lower rungs of the economic ladder and who don't have the benefit of a college degree, these high wage, blue collar jobs are literally the ticket to a better life for themselves and their family. In addition, other minorities who seek to climb the economic ladder through small business ownership, as pointed out in Project 21's Blueprint for a Better Deal for Black America, are disproportionately burdened by regulatory costs, including environmental regulations. The same is true for affordable housing. Environmental laws and regulations can serve to kill new housing projects and raise the cost of existing housing. California is probably the worst state when it comes to affordable housing, due in part to its costly environmental measures. And once again, environmental justice movement may be part of the problem and not the solution. I can tell you that most Black families don't want handouts. We have more ambition than just to get by a little more comfortably. We want upward mobility. We want opportunities that give us economic independence. We want home ownership, not subsidized rent. The dream, American dream, is alive and well in the hearts of minorities and low-income families, and we need to make certain that policymakers don't stand in anyone's way. And that is the perspective from which I look at the question of environmental grants. If the purpose of these grants is to pursue policies that serve to raise the cost of living on those who can least afford it, or to stifle the creation of good paying jobs for those individuals who most need it, then minority communities are better off without the money. The only winners seem to be environmental activists, regulators, and lawyers, not the communities that these people claim to serve. In conclusion, I was a supporter of President Clinton's welfare reform efforts many years ago. He and others realized that these poorly designed programs were hurting the very people they were supposed to help. I think the environmental justice movement is at a similar crossroads. It is time to end environmental justice as we know it. And I would like to add, what I do as a volunteer. I receive $0, 0 contracts. I receive 0 grants, and I am not paid by any energy company in America. Thank you.